Yeah, but I'm all green,
Yeah,
not just my lightsabers.
you're all green, but your lightsabers are green too, so you can't be Sith with green lightsabers, man.
I'm Yoda.
All right, let me
That's
change it.
actually fucking cool, dude.
Oh, we're streaming now, so all right,
Well,
there we go. Cool T-shirt, by the way, Talons. I love it.
Yeah, I got it at SCARCon.
Nice. All right, go ahead and get us started then. Well, all right. Welcome to the second episode of Enmity Podcasting. Today, we're going to be going over the 2.4 launch and a little bit of discussion. Should be fun, invigorating, all that good stuff. Well, let's first get into what have we been doing this week in Star Wars: The Old Republic. I know I've been missing a little bit, so this is kind of nice for me to hear what's been going on in Star Wars. So, Ignitia, how has your week been in Star Wars: The Old Republic?
so far I've been actually having a blast. I mean, the new Oricon planet has been very, very exciting. Uh, has a pretty decent amount of world PvP, and on top of it, the raids being 10 bosses total has been huge, and it's kind of nice.
Nice. So, how has the Oricon PvP been going? Does it seem like they've tried to initiate more of a world PvP feeling to it?
Yeah, they have. I mean, the dailies on Oricon right now are actually very, very cross. They did not do any real segregation to the planet itself. Instead of keeping Republic on one side and Sith on the other, they're making the actual dailies cross each other to where you have to somewhat invade into Republic territory or Sith territory. The only issue I may have is the little sanctuary near the raids. I mean, it would have been nice to not really have it, but the PvP is still there, and trust me, I've been ganked more times than I can count already.
What do you think, Talons? Have you been getting ganked yourself?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I like the zones, but they could have made them a little smaller. That way, when the large groups go into the ops, there'd be more huge battles going down. That'd be pretty cool. But just the planet side world PvP has been pretty fun. Gotten ganked a couple times, and I think you have some footage of us rolling up on some pubs and wrecking them.
That is true. Thanks for reminding me. I think that we have a little bit, and I know that I don't get ganked because that's just how good I am. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we've gotten few epic battles so far that I've actually really come to enjoy on that planet. And maybe as the time goes by, maybe as it begins to dwindle down on the population showing up on that server, that we're not going to get as many epic battles. But as far as I can tell right now, the fact that they didn't segregate us, the fact that they said just go in there and do your thing, has been really nice. And I don't know that I could have asked for anything more at the moment for PvP, especially for someone who I'm not always into queuing for a PvP match and being put with a bunch of people. I like to go with my healers, Talons, and my other DPS Ignitia and Big, and go in there and see what happens. Um, how about you, Big? Do you feel like the new PvP that we're getting on Oricon, along with the dailies, is enough to suffice people for a while?
I don't have too much experience with the actual dailies. I was spending most of my week either in the raids or trying to queue for arenas. The only real open PvP I had was right in front of the raids, which is good for the most part. I mean, they have that sanctuary zone, but you do have to cross the dead man's land to get into the raid, so it did spark some interesting battles for us.
Yeah. All right. Well, how about anybody queued for arenas yet? Ignitia, I think you said that you had queued for a few. What are your thought processes on those arena battles?
So far, the arena battles have been very, very fast paced and actually quite fun in my opinion. I mean, I can understand where they're trying to go with, trying to minimize the size of, raid groups by getting rid of ranked war zones, etc. But at the same time, I mean, it's really fun. It's hot. It's fast paced because you can't just sit there and do that WoW-esque 20-minute arena, where it just seems to go on and on and on. It's you will fight, you will die, or you will kill somebody, and I have had a lot of fun doing that as a late.
So I have a question for you. How, for somebody like me, like I said, I've kind of had to take the week off due to some production stuff outside of the game, some stuff for school. I've been having a lot of fun this week uh, doing real life stuff. Can you tell me what an arena is like from start to finish?
Arena, it's a 3 round based system where you get in, you do your set your group up just like a standard war zone where you buff up, you know take your stim or whatever you want to do. Adrenals get reset every round, which is really really nice. And you just go in and just try to set up as best you can, and then just duke it out as harshly as possible, selecting their healer or whatever you want to do. Uh, Communication is still a big essence onto it, but as soon as everybody's down, round one, 2 or 3 ends, it's best out of 3. So if you win 2 out of 3 rounds, you win. If you don't, you lose. So it's just the way it is, and the cons are still pretty nice coming out of it.
So are we talking one death per round then?
Correct. 1 death per round. There is no respawn after you die during a round.
That's nice. How about you, Big? Anything on the front of arena PvP? Have you tried it out yet this week? I know you said a lot of PvE stuff going on, but any arenas going on?
Yeah, I was trying to get in. I didn't want to start up with ranked yet until I got my full set of gear yet. But I was queuing up for some regular war zones and got thrown in some arenas, and it's nice when you start out. You get to see the other team's composition, so you can decide. The balance might need to be a little bit more. One match we got stuck with 2 healers and 2 DPS, and the other team had 4 DPS, so we got a bit smashed. But all my other matches that seemed to be fairly balanced. Being the operative healer, I was able to stealth the whole team in there so we can, sneak up on them. So
Nice.
I've had a lot of fun with them and look forward to doing the rank next week.
So you bring up a good point. Big, do you see any uh, groups that you would think that was a good adversary?
Well, definitely Op or a Scoundrel Healer. A Jug seems to be either DPS or tank seems to be a good choice with their Saber Reflect. You just wait to the 2 or 3 of the DPS are starting to burn them down, and they just pop that. And so I've seen that used effectively. Power Tech Tank seems to be annoying in there where, with his poles and his leaps and his Carbonite. It seems like with the right PvP or Power Tech Tank that they could do some good damage as well.
So would you agree, Ignitia, that it seems as if, well, because what it sounds like, I mean, it seems that everything is, or that it's balanced, and I think that's one thing that we've said before, that this game has really good balance. Does that seem to carry forward with arenas?
Well, I think time
Uh,
will tell with the. Oh, sorry. Well, I think time will tell. I mean, it's only been a week, and we haven't had the real rank groups as well. So I think it's going to take a little while for people to find the right compositions that seem to kick ass.
Oh, okay. What about you, there, Ignitia?
I think most of the classes are pretty homogenized, so it should be pretty good overall, in my opinion. I mean, everything seems to be well set up, and you know, it, I mean, like I kind of like how they have it set. Like it feels like one class seems to have an advantage over another class, and it's like an endless cycle. sorts can, pretty much be like, if you want to say, the anti-sniper, while, you know, like an assassin is, or a warrior gets his butt kicked by a sniper. So it's kind of nice. I mean, not. It seems like every class is very, very viable in the arena PvP. So it's really good.
All right, Talons, you're going into an arena PvP. What class do you take besides me? Because we know I'm amazing.
Of course. Um, the few that I did, I really like to have an assassin tank in there, and of course I was healing, and then at least one ranged DPS, and then it's nice having a warrior, either marauder or a derp smash. But yeah, the arenas were a blast. I really like the fast pace of it, and just that it doesn't drag out too long, and the fact that when you're dead is kind of cool. And best 2 out of 3, I really like that idea because it kind of, if it's a really even match, it can go back and forth both ways, and each team can win one, and then you're kind of down to the last match, which is cool. Um, I think that what Big said is a good point. I did get matched up in a couple that seem to be one-sided. I think with the queuing, they'll have to do a little tweaking on matching people up right. And I know it's hard because not you don't always get a tank and a healer queuing up with the group, but I think they'll have to work on that a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, so any last minute thoughts? We'll start on PvP before we move on subjects. Ignitia, last minute thought?
I think this patch has been very, very well done and made for PvP. Open world is, in my opinion, finally here. I mean, go to Oregon and just have a ball. I mean, there is plenty of excitement. There's plenty of people, and there's plenty of fighting going on. Uh, Bring a PvP guild, your raid guild. It doesn't matter. It's on Oregon. When it comes to the new arenas, I think they did a fantastic job. I think ranked. I feel kind of sad at the same time that they're getting rid of ranked war zones, but the ranked arenas should be outstanding. More chances of actually queuing against different teams other than the same team over and over and over again, because ranked war zones, it's very, very hard to be on the same page. It took a lot of trying to practice by trying to queue at the same time, get two groups in at the same time into a regular war zone, and this is people's chance to actually go like, okay, we're four. This is what we're gonna do. Let's do some freaking arenas and we can knock it out.
Nice.
So it should be well, well, very, very competitive in the long run. And I'm actually very, very quite happy with the new state of PvP right now in Star Wars.
Talons, PvP last thoughts.
Uh, I agree. I think that the way they did the planet meshes people well, so you can't really avoid it. Even though I've seen some people, just kind of run by. I think if it's red, it's dead is a good law. You should always mess with people, even if it means you die. It's just part of the fun. But
Yeah. Why be Sith?
I like it so far. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Big
I have to
any
shock everything that moves. So.
right, it's probably why you played a Sork in the first place, right? Big, any last minute thoughts? PvP, new patch.
Oh yeah, even though I am happy with the arenas and the open world and that, I don't think it's what they touted as the, great PvP during this, great PvP patch during the summer of Star Wars. But, I'm happy with arenas. A little disappointed that ranks didn't come out, but I understand they want to get a little more balance in there before, they find a class is super unbalanced in arenas and just able to, rack their ranked up. So we'll have to wait and see on there, but
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. My last thought is that we got something, and I'm happy for the PvPers. It seems like this is going a long way to allowing groups to get in and see the fights, enjoy them with the not the fights, but see the arenas with their teams and learn how to interact with 3 other players that they know. or just go in and have fun and queue for that only 3 people need to get into. Um, but maybe it wasn't that huge patch that they touted for PvPers. Let us know. Let us know what you think about that. I think the community as a whole needs to get up together and put on the forums, and I think that they have. But what do you think about this PvP patch that was touted as the end all be all? Now moving on. General feelings on the new raids. So we've been in there. We've done a couple raids. What did you think, Big, on the first? What did we? 4 fights that we were able to see.
It is definitely a mechanic check. Gear, will help out a bit, but even in 16-man story mode, if you don't get, certain mechanics right, you're just kind of wipe. So I'm liking it. It's getting people to actually pay attention, focus. You'll be able to see who's your weakest link in the raid, and either have them adjust or have to replace them, unfortunately, because they're no joke.
I feel like we were able to see a couple things on that fourth boss where I blame Talons for not being able to heal me through my final mistake. But what do you think, Talons? Was it your healing or my mistake?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry you blew up the raid. That was my fault.
Oh man, I know. I feel you, man. I feel that your sorriness through the internet airwaves. But yeah, I mean, and I think I got tired, and one time I just wasn't paying attention and I killed the raid, and I have to have respect for that type of fight, especially when I was getting upset for other people doing it before me, and all of a sudden, I don't pay attention for 2 seconds, and there it is. So, Talons, does it back to you? Does it take another class of raiders? I mean, these newer people that are going in, are they going to have issues when it's no longer just a smash to get through them? And by what I mean by smash is
Uh,
that just like they're just rolling their face on the keyboard and killing bosses.
yeah. I mean, I definitely think I think Star Wars in general has done a good job at creating a need for raid awareness, and you have to pay attention, but especially in this ops, you'll kill everyone if you do the wrong thing. So I definitely think that it's gonna kind of up the caliber of player, although there's always a place for them in story mode.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean that's why these games have gone to an easier platform of rating, and now, and I know we say that jokingly, but the fact of the matter is there is a place for them in story mode, and if you ever want to come up and give it a try, there's hard mode and then moving on to nightmare mode also, and I think if we would have had a little bit more time, we would have gotten further this week. But Big, how do you feel healing wise? Is it becoming a challenge, or is it just staying out of things? Is it just the mechanics of the thing?
It's definitely a challenge, especially when things go wrong. Some of the fights when they go wrong, you're able to barely heal through them and keep them up. But even just with the standard fights, if nothing's going wrong, it seems like it's more of a challenge now. More things that you're having to cleanse now. They're adding in that both classes are both tech and forts, so you're gonna have to make sure those things are cleansed. So, like I said, it seems like more of a challenge, and I'm up for it.
That's yeah, and you always have been as a healer. The other thing that I was wondering is for the tanks. Do you feel like uh, Ignitia? Do you feel as if, and I know that you did what the first fight and some of the second, but as a fight, do you think that they're bringing more to the table for the tanks and saying, hey, get your stuff together because we're going to make it difficult for you?
Oh yeah, it's extremely difficult. I mean, the dad management has been very, very uh, at times insane. And frankly, I like this style of combat. It gives gives tanks a lot more to do overall during the fight. I mean, instead of actually, having to just go to another boss and tank his face and then switch over and go back to this boss, or just be rotating where it's like, okay, you have one boss and okay, I got to taunt now and do my thing and then let go. This has a huge aspect in the raid. It's like you have to control the boss and this many ads, and then you got to switch it up and take these ads, and this guy gets the boss. It's a big communication check between the tanks, and it's a huge thing when it comes to like, okay, uh, when should I rotate my cooldowns? What is the best cooldown for this phase? Now it's a thinking man's game now, and it's a lot funner in my opinion.
So by saying it's a thinking man's game, does that mean, I don't know, Big, what do you think, that bringing adequate or maybe DPS who don't know as much is viable as long as they can stay alive? Or are we still getting some good matches where keeping your DPS up while maintaining raid awareness is very important?
I think raid awareness is definitely going to be important in these hard modes. I mean, DPS, if they can do good numbers, that's one thing. But if they're they're sucking the resources out of the healers because they're missing an interrupt, or standing in something they shouldn't be and killing themselves and having to waste one of the battle reses that should be safe for the tank, they're definitely going to be crippling the raid.
So in your opinion, raid awareness or DPS or a mixture of both is necessary?
Well, I mean, raid awareness for sure. I mean, I'll take someone that's more raid aware than a DPS. You can always work on that. But I mean, if you just have no raid awareness time after time and can't get out of stuff, there's no real fixing that. We can scream at
Yep.
you, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I'm really excited with these new raids as a DPS. It's something that, like I said, I killed the raid on our final attempt with something I had yelled at somebody for doing the time before, and then the time before that I had thought about yelling, and the time before that I had thought about yelling again, and and you know what? I think that these raids are gonna force good raiders to eat their words, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Nightmare Mode will bring. But because we haven't completed yet, I'm also looking forward at what the rest of these new hard mode contents are going to bring, and the downing, of course, of the Dreadmasters. Because I think we're all ready for a new arc. What do you think, Ignicio? You ready for a new arc in the lore?
Yeah, I'm ready for a new arc in the lore, but when it comes to these past few raids prior to 2.0 and in this expansion so far, it's been quite fun overall just to see the evolution of this lore right here. It really, really fits in. It's fun. It's interesting. I think it's a good time to actually start. Let's kill these guys off, and what's the next biggest baddest thing in the galaxy, if you want to say that overall. And
Well,
let, let's go try to kill him.
Talons. What about you, man?
Yep.
Are you ready for it? Are you ready for the next big thing once we're done here? And is it Malgus? I think is the big question.
The return of Malgus. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'd like to see. I'm still really excited about this, and I really just want to see the rest of what we're on and get through it. Talking about the fight we're watching right now is, I think they did well at balancing where, there's some mistakes you can make where it just challenges everyone a little bit more. So, I mean, there's always those pulls that just go perfect smoothly and the raiders do the right thing. But, for example, there's a raid-wide affliction that goes out in this fight, and all the DPS have to interrupt. If they don't, the healers have a challenge at that point to cleanse as many people as they can and heal the raid up before they die, and it can be a wipe at that point, but it also cannot be. So it's one of those challenges I think they put in that's pushes people to their limits, but it's also something you can get through, which I think is cool.
Big. Any last minute thoughts on these raids?
I'm definitely looking forward to downing the Dreadmasters and seeing what the Dread Palace has to offer us.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think that right now I'm really excited with what these raids are bringing to this game. I think that it's time for us to step up as a community and get ready for nightmare mode. Well, once we down this content first, right? So one thing,
Of course.
yeah, one thing that I was interested in hearing our raiders' opinions on, because we weren't able to down all of the nightmare mode content. We weren't able to fully gear out 75 gear. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, we tried, we stayed together, we had fun times, we had bad times, and we'll remember it always. It took me away for a while, and I came back, and it is what it is. How do you guys feel now about these new Ultimate comms being used, or not the new Ultimate comms, but the new gear being Ultimate comm uh, being bought with them? Is it something that, like, I'm gonna go first to Big and get his reaction on this? Is this something that you think, because of how much of an increase in stats it is from 72 to 78, did it basically just make everything that the Nightmare Mode guilds did useless?
Well, it's still going to take a few weeks to actually farm up the gear to get it. I mean, if you have a few alts, it's going to be a bit easier. But back to the what we're talking about, mechanics. I think being able to get the gear alone is not going to help out. I think it's definitely going to be that raid awareness that gets you to down to hard mode. It's not like the other fights where you could just get enough gear and work your way through it. So I don't mind that they do it that way. I mean, it'll help them out with story mode, but again, to get into hard mode, it's definitely going to be a challenge.
Well, yeah, and I think you bring a good point. Maybe the gear isn't the most important thing, seeing as you can wipe your entire guild without really, with really just not paying attention for 2 seconds. So, what do you think, Ignitia? Is it something that you're worried about, or not worried about, or really, why are we even talking about it?
Well, I'm a man of two different opinions on this one. At first, I kind of feel like the 75 gear should have been more of what like Ultimate Comms should have been, uh, or just maintain the 72 gear. But at the same time, I can understand the whole change in it and being able to gear up for this. I mean, to be able to optimally be able to do hard mode when it comes to uh, this raid is 72 gear from hard mode, TFB, and SMB. But at the same time, does it feel like it kind of overshadows what what these guilds done in Nightmare? A little bit, but at the same time, having that 75 gear has made it substantially easier, in my opinion, to down content compared to, say, a guild that's just purely in just 72s who are actually having to fight. And, if we do make that mistake, we're going to die compared to, like, okay, I'm in 75 gear, so the DPS is a little bit higher to where we can probably just kill this boss off just slightly a little faster so we don't have to worry about raids or anything like that.
So, what do you think that this is going to do? I mean, we kind of talked about it. Big put it out there that he doesn't feel that gear is that important. But do you think that that's going to take mediocre guilds and allow them to kill it faster? Or do you think it's just not that big of a deal, Ignitia? I mean, I know you've kind of said
I,
it, but really, what's the point of farming nightmare mode when you can come and get ultimate comms at the end of the expansion, anyways? Not the end of the expansion, but
I,
the end of the 2.3.
yeah. Yeah, the thing is what I believe is this is the next tier of content. And there is no such thing as a mediocre Nightmare Guild. I mean, if you're able to down content in nightmare mode, I my hat's off to you, because it is very, very hard content, whether it be EC or even from the very beginning, from EV and KP to this, content now that with TFB and SMB nightmares. Uh, it's really, really hard content. I don't think the gear in this expansion or in this patch has been it. You're going to need it because mobs hit a lot harder overall, but at the same time, having that 75 gear just made your life easier. And in all reality, the gear doesn't really matter if you can't be mediocre in this new content because it takes so much communication, so much coordination just to actually pull a lot of these fights off. Because there is a lot of ad control that I've noticed in almost all these fights, or systems that come into play where it's like, okay, the tank has to tank instead of 2 things, 5 things, and and there's a lot of awareness that comes out that that I need to interrupt that corruption, or I have to get out of this circle of fire on the ground, if you want to say that. It takes a lot, and if you're not rate aware in this content, it doesn't matter how good your gear is, you're gonna still die. So it doesn't matter.
I can understand that. Yeah. Any last thoughts then, Big, before we end the cast on the new gear looks? Any? You think they did a good job with them, or are you disappointed?
I've only looked at mine for the operative, but I like it. I could see it looking good with matching it with some other pieces or some dyes. And again, there's so many different looks available that at least they're giving us new looks. I mean, we can't be, you know, bitch that they're not giving us the certain look that we were hoping for. But again, it's a new look. It's a unique look. You can be wearing that and only getting that from the raid. So.
Yeah. So I've come to think lately, and I don't know how you all feel about it, but that what they're really trying to do is get you to look at some of the gear that is out there. And one of the things I think they boast is one of the best um, abilities to look the way you want to look in an MMO. I mean, you can take anything and you can make it your own. You can put your own enhancements, your own mods, everything in there. So why would you stick with a set that everybody else is going to be able to get if they're down in content? I mean, do you agree with me, Talons, that one of the things that they offer in Star Wars: The Old Republic is the ability to make your character your own, and maybe that's one of the reasons why they don't always do the best job when it comes to the gear that you can get out of raids?
Well, I don't know if that's the reason, but it just gives you more gear, I guess, to mesh with your gear, because it seems like that's a lot of what people do. I see people doing the whole sets, but a lot of times, they'll just mix and match what they like and what they don't like. Um, but overall, with being able to now, you can dye lore armor too now, which is a good thing, I think, because a lot of it was just not the right color for some people, and the new armor, some of it looks okay, but the colors are hideous, and it's like Iron Man met the Dread Guards or something. So with the right dye pack on those pieces would I think would be cool.
Yeah, I've always been one for making my character my own, and so I do appreciate that. Sometimes it'd be nice to see them put a little bit more look. Okay, just a little bit more time into the gear that's coming out in the raids. But hey, I can't knock them because maybe there's people out there who loves them, and if you're one of them, go ahead and rip me a new one in the forums. I'd love to have somebody say, I actually really do like those, and that's fine with me. I'm okay with that because everybody has their opinions. That's what the great thing about being able to switch up your gear. Any last thoughts on 2.4 there, Ignitia?
I don't have any real major changes. Going back to the gear look, I kind of agree with Tom's. The whole Iron Man meets Dreadmasters a little bit. But at the same time, the look is very very unique. It has a different style altogether for it, and I believe they're in the right direction. The only thing I would maybe change, and this is just my opinion, is maybe having a different set bonus on occasion when it comes to new content. It'd be nice to somewhat see compared to like, okay, I get the same set bonus, but I need this armoring just to continue having the best set bonus of them all. Some people don't change it, some people do. Um, I mean, you can add so many different interesting combinations when it comes to the actual set bonuses. I mean, make Undying Rage not take 50% of your health for a Marauder or something like that, or some other version of it, or make it a global raid type deal. There's so many interesting things you can do with this. I mean, it's not all about damage or rotations or cooldowns or anything like that. It's just, I think BioWare can have some massive fun with it if they really want to get into it. But overall, patch has been outstanding, in my opinion, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in 2.5.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ignitia. It would be nice to see some new four set bonuses, but I think that first they need to get the four set bonuses right for all classes because right now I think we're at a point where it's like I know as a mercenary I'm just like come on guys let's do something let's get this right and or change it up admit you're wrong and change it up but I agree with you. It would be nice to see some more four set, some switches in the four set bonus. Have some fun with it. I think is key. Any last thoughts on Star Wars: The Old Republic? There, talents. 2.4. I mean the 2.4 launch.
Uh, I like what I see so far. I you know I would like to see a planet that was a little more challenging. It'd be cool to have something that was a gear check of a planet where you actually had to go in with the group and it was a challenge to do the dailies on that planet. At least if you were low geared, you had to have a group. Maybe you could solo it if you were geared out. I thought this planet was a little bit easy to just run through, but I think they intentionally did that because you notice that the first dailies give you a full set of purple 66 gear, so they probably planned on, you know, people hitting 55 and just hitting up those dailies and grabbing the gear, and that's cool. But I would like to. It'd be cool if they did a planetary gear check where it was more like an ops planet-wide though, where you had to do it with the group. Gets people to group up more. I think they need a little more of that. It requires kind of a guild, so you need to join the guild or make some friends and socialize.
Yeah, I have to agree with you that when I don't even need a full rotation to get through some of the gold mobs, then there's a huge issue. At what point do we make dailies a challenge? Yeah, I have to agree. Harder daily areas. Let's make it like Belsavis. Belsavis was fun, except for the fact that everybody was just running through them in the instanced areas. Big, any last thought on Star Wars The Old Republic 2.4 launch?
Well, it was a little annoying how they broke the GTM, but it was nice for them to fix it a day or two later. I don't know if it was just something they didn't get around to testing, or if they knew it was and just figured, hey, let's just get out the whole patch and, fix this a day or two later. But it was a quick response, so I was happy.
How exactly did they break it for you?
Well, you couldn't preview any gear from the GTN. You couldn't link any items to the GTN. There's still some issues with the sorting. It doesn't sort by the cheapest price by default. The new unit price feature they added doesn't work when an item seems like it's over about like 30, 40k or still can't quite figure it out yet. But they did fix the linking issue, so now you can preview and link items from the GTN, which was the biggest issue because you want to see if you look cool in the gear before you buy it.
Yeah, it's a huge part of like I'll just go through the GTN on a week off and come back and be like, well, let's see what's new. Let's see what the prices have lowered on. So that's always for me, who I don't am unable to log on as much as I would like to now, I'm more of a raider. Uh, it definitely adds a little bit more to the GTN. So I'm glad they responded to it. I'm glad they fixed it and they did it in a timely manner. Thank you, BioWare. Uh, Good job. Hey, everybody. This has been the second episode of Enmity Podcasting. It's been fun. I'm Dale, Raging Rondo Snyderhand. Talons, Ignition, Big. We're out. We'll be back next week. And we're bringing more fun stuff. We're thinking about starting a new system where you can answer trivia questions, and we'll give you some cool new pets and whatnot if you're on the Bastion server. So go ahead and either make a tune on the Bastion, or Bastion players get ready to answer trivia for just some fun stuff to do on the server. Anyways, have a good night and enjoy your raiding this week, or PvP as it sounds. It's coming back, people. Have a good one.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Yeah.